Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new edition of Over the Line. Andrew McClain here, hanging out with you. A very special guest with me today. It is my one and only sibling, Abby McClain, my sister from Missouri. Abby, how are you today?
I'm good. We've only recorded this 17 times. I don't know if it's my bad juju or what, but everything that could go wrong today has gone wrong in this room.
So this podcast is going to be nothing like we planned on, because this is literally the fifth time we've started this podcast. So not only are we frustrated, but the longer it takes us to get this right, the more beer we've drank and the more erratic this show is going to be. So we're just going to get right to it. First of all, off the top, you're down here doing some photography work. And by the way, shout out to those of you listeners that actually got with her in book sessions, which are coming up tomorrow and Saturday. Tell me a little bit about Abby McClain Photography and where people can find you at.
Yeah, so all of my social media, it's all just Abby McClain Photography. Spell it the same way Andrew does, McLain. Yeah, I specialize in wedding and engagement, couples, but I do like seniors, families, all that stuff too. For a while, I thought that maybe I wouldn't, but I love doing it so much, and I have an awesome like current client base, and so I just try to do a little bit of all of it. Yeah, I just started full time. Actually, my last day at my 9-to-5 job was last Friday on the 2nd.
How did that feel?
It's still pretty surreal. It hasn't fully sunken in that like I'm not going back.
I saw a bunch of social media posts about how you can't believe that the moment's finally here and you're going full time with your photography. I mean, you're a business owner now.
I know, it's really crazy. I turned 25 in August. And I definitely wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for my fiance. John, shout out to John. Miss you.
Miss you.
He's a rock star, and he has worked so hard to make sure that like this would be possible for me, and that is just like seriously invaluable. He's awesome, and I love him so much.
These are some of the photos you took just last night.
Yesterday evening. These are my cousin Savannah and her husband Clint, and their little babies. They've got Paisley Brasher and little new baby Presley.
Look at that. Very cute.
Yeah, it was a good time. We got to, hang out. My aunt and uncle came over and brought burgers, and we got to like have dinner and spend some time together, and it was really nice. And we can plug that. I'm gonna be in certain areas already, so I figured why not make the most of it.
So this is you're in Panama City in August and
October.
And then in November, Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So if any of you guys are in this area or you have family in those areas, it would be, if any of you guys are going to Panama City in August or in October, this would be a great opportunity for you to link up with her while you're both down there.
Yeah.
Because everybody, listen, we're all Southern folk. We know how this whole thing works. You got to get your white shirt, your khaki shorts, and get out there with your family and take a beach family photo. This is the person that's going to hook you up with that. She's going to do an amazing job.
We're going to do better than khakis. We're going to make them good. But no, I'm going to already be in those areas. And so there's no additional, fee for me to travel, to compensate for that travel from Kansas City. So it would just be the normal photography rate. I'd love the chance to do some, mountain photos, some beach photos with people. So especially engaged couples, like I just feel like those are both such romantic places that I would just like die.
It's like a Disney movie.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
But big thank you though to everyone. Andrew had a couple of listeners that booked sessions with me. I'm super excited to get to meet you guys. And I'm just super excited that like I actually get to do this. Like this is actually my life now.
I got to be honest. I'm proud of her. I'm kind of I'm new to being the business owner, and it's kind of a different situation for me because I'm technically labeled as a business owner, but I'm a contractor, and then we got this podcast and everything else. So I've been able to dip my feet into this realm, and I know it's not easy, and she's already pulling it off. So I think you're going to do fantastic. Now, enough of that. Let's talk about your childhood. Let's talk about all your traumatic events that have happened over your life. Perhaps some of the things you talk to your therapist about in therapy, and go.
So I don't go to therapy because I currently can't afford it.
But you used to go to therapy.
No.
You didn't?
I'm just really good.
I thought
I'm just very well adjusted.
maybe I just feel like you need therapy. I don't know.
No, it's because I'm so well adjusted. I
Is
studied
it?
communication sciences in college.
Well,
So I had to take a lot of psychology classes, a lot of like interpersonal communication.
why did I think you gone to therapy?
I mean, after our parents got divorced, they made me do like this like mandated like
Child therapy court ordered,
but
wasn't
it like I was too small to like I literally like went in there and played with dolls for like an hour and then
But
went home.
wasn't it a court deal? Because I remember you having to do that.
Because I think it was just like they want to make sure that I'm not like messed up or
Because
whatever.
I was 14 or 15 at the time, so I didn't really have to go do any of that. I mean, it affected me pretty drastically, like it would any kid.
Well, because they had a custody issue with me. Because I think by the time I think you were already 18 by the time that they had to do the custody stuff.
When Mom was moving to Missouri,
Right. They
I
had to
was
have.
17.
So you probably wouldn't have had. They probably weren't.
No, I
worried.
was out of the picture at that point.
So we went to court, and I remember this actually. It's kind of weird that like I remember this, but the lady was like, "Do you want to live with your mom and your dad?" Me, being the perfect kid I am, was like, "I love my mom and my dad. I'm not gonna choose." And that's what she told him. She's like, "Listen, this kid loves her parents, and she's gonna, she would be happy either place." But I was with my mom, which worked out great because she's my best friend and she's perfect and I love her.
Look at that.
I love you, Mom.
Well, and life throws situations at you where you got to make tough decisions like that. But we have very loving parents, and especially as we see other people's situation, even our own family and the stuff they've been through. Like we've got it. We were talking about it today. We're like, man, our childhood was a cakewalk compared to some people.
Yeah, and I mean, and that is all on like. It's all due to the work that those people put in to make sure that the generations thereafter had. I mean, like the idea of what they went through is such a foreign concept to us. Like it's just like hard to wrap our minds around. And that they did that on purpose. Like they wanted it to be that good.
And you'll understand it when you have kids, but it's a deal where your goal is to make sure your kid had a better life than you did, but not just that, and not in the sense of giving them the stuff you didn't have, because that can be a slippery slope, but to make sure they turn out to be a better, more contributing member of society than you were growing up. And if you make sure he or she knows that's your goal, then they're going to do that for their children. And then who knows, 3 generations from now, this world might actually be a better place.
Yeah.
If everybody does it.
Yeah.
Except for some of you scumbags.
Just starts
raise
at
a
home.
bunch of snot-nosed hellions.
Heathens.
So went through all that, moved to Missouri. I moved to Missouri, and I lasted 2 months. As soon as I turned 18, I moved back. Mama was heartbroken.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't handle it. They had me working on a pig farm. It was
You were
traumatic.
also like almost in your 20s. You had already established a life here. You had a girlfriend here.
Right.
It was like you had to uproot your life to move to literally the middle of nowhere.
The day after graduation. And when she
Yeah.
says middle of nowhere, in my mind, when we first went, I'm thinking we're going to Kansas City, we're going to St. Louis, and we get there, and the town's called Modena. So the sign says, "Welcome to Modena, population 67." And I'm like, this cannot be right.
More cows than people.
So growing up in Modena, in what's known as Princeton, it is a community where, I don't know, I would say 20 to 30% of the people are Amish, like full-blown horse and buggy.
Well, now in Modena, it's like 60% Amish, 40% English.
Okay. So we call them English?
Yeah, we're English.
Like English. Colonial
Yeah.
English.
Basically, like that's what they call us.
They're
They call us
colonists.
English people.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So
I think it's because of like the English language, because they speak like this German Dutch, like this.
Right.
I don't know if it's German or Dutch or both. It's something.
Well, you move up there at 5 years of age, so you're basically raised up there.
Oh yeah. Climbing hay bales and
when you get there, it's country, but you don't really know much different because you're at that point in your life where you're just now kind of, realizing or paying attention to your surroundings or whatever. So it's very formidable years. But your mom had just gotten married.
Yeah.
Now, did you hate your stepdad, your mom's new husband right off the bat, or how did that work?
I think that, and I think all kids that go into a new step-parent relationship can probably relate to this. They feel this sense of guilt as if they're trying to replace their other parent. And so there's like this, not resentment that you just automatically feel, but it's like a weird feeling. I told people that I'd never hated Richard. I could never hate Richard ever. But my mom told me the story that I didn't even realize was a thing that happened. She just told me the story. She's like, when you were like, we had just moved to Missouri. This was like Christmas time. She's like, when you were little, you told everybody that Richard called you a bitch.
What?
And I was like, okay, first of all, how did I know that word at that age? Because
actually
I know Sharon didn't say it.
You said the word to her at
Yes,
5 years
I
old.
was like, Richard called me a bitch.
And did he call you one?
So so when she told me that, like, I could not, I tried to imagine what this scenario could have been, because I feel like it would have been very impactful if it actually happened.
I don't even know who Richard is now.
And so he used to have a really bad potty mouth, and Mom used to get on to him all the time about it. Now he's awesome about it. He doesn't hardly ever swear. And but so Richard has 3 daughters, our stepsisters, and they all have children.
And potty mouth.
We all have potty mouths, let's be honest. Just kidding, Mom. I'm an angel. I don't say bad words.
I like Richard's children.
They're so cool, and they're all just like so nice and just so.
I like most of them. I'm just kidding.
I'm like, bro, get alive.
Kidding.
No, I've had a lot of good fortune in getting to become closer with them as the years go on, and they had kids that were not that much younger than me, so I got to kind of grow up with them. But my parents had bought one of the kids a Christmas present. It was like a bowling play set. He was like probably 2 or 3 at the time. He was really little, so it was like a little baby toy. Right. And I saw it up in the top of the closet, and so I pulled it down because I was like, "This looks interesting. It's in my house. It must be mine." So I pull it down somehow, and I start like going through it, and Richard like storms in and sees me, and he's like, "Son of a bitch," because I had gotten the toy out and was playing with it, but in my 5-year-old mind, I was like, "He called me a bitch."
This 5-year-old little.
literally. And yeah, because when she told me that, I was like, God, when would that have happened? Because I know that because either I made it up out of spite because I was bitter because I missed my family in Alabama.
Well, maybe you were just being a.
Oh, definitely was. Definitely. That's never,
I mean, that's highly possible.
If that's ever like on the table, you just might as well go ahead and go with the safe guess that yes, I was.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
So
I'm on Richard's side on this one.
Oh, same though.
I would have called you the same thing.
Yeah. So he didn't call me one. He just said it in my presence, and I assumed that he was calling me one because I was a child and had no cognitive.
But then you went and told the entire town.
Oh yeah, no, I told all of our family, who already was like still like they were still hurting from the divorce.
Okay, that's my next question, because anybody's been through divorce, they know it's contentious. It's happened to me, and people talk, everybody picks sides and goes to their corner. So that's normal, and it was the case in our situation.
Well, yeah, because everybody was hurt because we have always been such a close-knit family. Like, that's always been the situation. And so I think that something like a divorce really rocks everyone in that family because they all feel hurt by it.
Well, and I want to break this down because I think this is important. Now, everybody gets along. Everybody loves everybody. And I think time heals wounds.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, there's no hard feelings between anybody. Like,
Hindsight's
literally.
20/20.
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
But at the time, Team Denny and Team Sharon were in their corners.
Yeah.
And so there was
rough.
It was heated. It was tense. And so here comes Abby with, Richard called me up and sets the whole thing off. Literally takes the entire house of this divorce and sets it on fire and see, me being 18 at the time, I'm like, I'm not in it. I'm an adult. I'm out of here.
Yeah, and that would be like the first of a very long list of stupid things I said and did.
Jeez, man.
Looking back, I feel horrible about that because I try to give myself some grace because I was a child and he said it in my vicinity, and I felt like, so it wasn't like me like knowing he didn't say that and then going and telling people just to like get him in trouble. Like I genuinely thought he had said that to me because I was a small child and didn't know any better.
Right.
But he is the greatest stepdad in the world. Taught me how to drive, how to mow the grass, you know, all of that awesome stuff. Like he was really like always there.
Yeah. And listen, all that stuff sounds important, but let's talk about this.
Wow.
What is the biggest thing you did when you were growing up? The biggest thing that you look back and you say, man, I cannot believe I put my mom through that. Like the biggest, the one thing you did that you think disappointed our mom the most.
I made her cry on vacation once.
Hey.
Yeah, it was like that, but the opposite. I'm on vacation.
Oh no.
So I was like 15.
Was I on this vacation?
No, this was, so Richard had worked for a company that would send us on, like he would have this big conference every year, and so they'd do it at different family-friendly resorts, so then people could bring their families. It was all expenses paid. It was an awesome deal. And so one year we went to the Wisconsin Dells and stayed at the Kalahari Resort. If you've ever been there, it's pretty lit, kind of Tiger King-esque.
Right.
Because they used to have like baby tigers that you could hold there. But it was a really cool resort, big water park, amusement park situation. And one of my good friends, that at the time that I'd been running around with that summer, partying and hanging out and all that stuff, she came with me because, you know, I was just one kid. They let me bring another kid so I could have somebody to hang out with. And I had gone to a friend's birthday party. She was turning 18. It was down at the river, Yeehaw, small town. And it was like a huge party. It was like a huge party. People had brought tents to sleep in because there was going to be alcohol, all that stuff. And I participated in the alcohol. And
At 15.
Yeah, at 15.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was also like the youngest in my class. So like all my friends had their license and they were like 16. Some of them actually were getting ready to be 17. Like I was like very young in my class. And then there was this guy that I had like made out with at that party.
Oh.
And yeah, luckily like he was kind of a predator.
Luckily.
Luckily my friend saved me from that situation.
You said luckily he was kind of a predator.
No, sorry. I was side note there. Sorry. Luckily my friend saved me because he was a bit predatory because he knew I was only
Thank goodness
15.
he wasn't a nice guy. He was just a predator.
Yeah, no, and he was definitely too old to. Anyway, and so he had messaged me on Facebook, and I had been on Facebook on the laptop that we all like were using the same computer. I didn't have a smartphone or anything at that time. Right. And he was messaging me, or no, he wasn't messaging. It was another guy that I met there, but I was just like hanging out with, like it was nothing like that.
How many guys were you hanging out with?
I actually had a lot of guy friends in high school.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about it at the beach.
No, this is the river party. This is the river party.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
So this other guy, like he was just like a nice dude that I knew and that, like I just talked with, and I was like, hey, like sorry, I was super drunk, like I was probably like being annoying, blah blah blah. And I didn't log out of Facebook. I went to the bathroom and I come out and mom's like, she has tears in her eyes. I feel horrible just looking back on this, and she's like, Abby, we need to talk.
Oh, no.
We need to talk about something. And at this point, like, I'm profusely sweating. My heart is racing. I'm like, oh, no. She takes me out on the little balcony, and she's like, where were you on the night of blah, blah, blah?
Oh.
And I was like, I went to a birthday party. She's like, did you drink? I was like, yeah. She's like, I don't even know who you are.
Oh, no.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
No.
And cried. And this is awkward because my poor friend, she's with us on vacation. She's like,
worst vacation ever.
This sucks. This is weird. Because she was there with me. She went to the party too.
Oh, man.
And
she's just like, please don't tell my mom.
Yeah, I think that was the most grief I gave my mom. Other
That's
than
tough.
just being an ungrateful brat most of the time.
I gotta admit that's tough. And our mom is as we've talked about, she's an angel.
She's perfect. She's literally perfect.
She wants to cry. She's not gonna do it in front of us. No. I can think, and that's the first time I've heard that story. Yeah. But I can think of one time I made our mom cried because I didn't brush my teeth because I lied about it. Okay.
Aww.
And now keep in mind, this is.
That's so pure.
And no, it was an angel. So at the time, it was the divorce. We were living in Aniana. So times were rough.
So you were a teenager and you lied about brushing your teeth?
Yes. Listen, she is a single mom working like 3 or 4 jobs at that time.
She had 5 at one point.
She is stretched thin like nobody's
Leaves at 6
business.
a.m., gets home at 10 p.m.
Doesn't even have her car because she's wanting to let me use her car to drive back and forth to school. So she's having to rely on me to come pick her up from work, take her to the next job, so on and so forth. And she came and asked me if I brushed my teeth. I told her, yeah. She apparently went and checked the toothbrush, which was bone dry.
Yep.
And she came back to me, told me she knew I was lying, and she started crying. And it wasn't that
I think she was just stressed.
Not brushing my teeth made her cry. It was. She was stressed. But that stuck with me for a long time.
Yeah.
And as an adult now, I understand it. But back then, I'm like, I crushed my mother because I didn't brush my teeth. And I was traumatized by that.
Yeah.
That really bothered me for a long time. That may have even bothered me more than the time where she went to Missouri and I threw a party at the house.
Like at the house I grew up in?
Yes.
With who?
Oh, it was like my whole senior class.
They came to Missouri?
No. At the house in Aniana. The last house we lived in Aniana.
Yep.
I had
remember
people
this.
crammed into that house. There were so many people.
How did you not get the cops called on you?
I have no idea. But what happened was I flopped down in the recliner, which then hit the fish tank. Okay. Busted the fish tank. Not full blown busted it, but cracked it.
We had a pretty big fish tank, wasn't
yes.
it? It
And
was
you
like a
were
50-gallon
at your
fish
friend's
tank.
house or something. And, I'm talking, we had one of my buddies was in the bathtub. He was throwing up blood because he drank so much alcohol and this and that. Anyway, wake up the next day, worst hangover of my life, and there's about this much water left in the fish tank. We didn't know it was broken until the next morning. So we take duct tape the back of it, and say, she'll never know, okay? We get that. We go throughout our day. We clean up the whole place, everything else.
Where did the water go?
I have no idea. I guess it's soaked up in the carpet. Clean everything up.
Fish water in the carpet and you didn't notice?
We go on about our business.
What about the fish?
And, they were fine. And then she comes home a couple days later, and she doesn't say anything about it.
Fishy in here.
She says nothing about it. And I'm like, man, we're Gucci. We have made it. I have pulled off this amazing party that everybody's still talking about at school because we had so much fun. And then she finds
Mike's Hard Lemonade.
No, she finds like a one beer bottle that had rolled up under the stove or something.
Oh,
and
no,
she's sweeping.
no, it was a Mike's Hard Tap. She was telling me that story. It was like the lid to a Mike's Hard Lemonade that was like just barely tucked under the edge of the stove.
That's right. So
she
it was just
has
a lid.
Freaky intuition.
We had cleaned up everything, and she found
Can't lie
that
to
one
her.
thing, and then she came to me just as Abby said and said, "Hey, we need to talk." And
You
I started sweating
literally.
bullets.
So she used to get me when I was a kid. Like so.
And that with that story I just gave you, I felt worse about the toothbrush than I did that party.
Well, yeah, because you had fun.
There was nothing fun about me not brushing my teeth.
Yeah, it was like boring, But no, when I was a kid, so my mom, like, you could never get anything past her. Like, I don't think that. I mean, you might have, but I never could. She just has insane intuition, and one way, though, that she used to make sure that I was being honest with her when I was a kid, she'd say, "You promised to Jesus?"
Oh, yeah. She used to do that to me, too.
I couldn't do it. Oh, I'd crack every time. I'm not promising nothing to Jesus if it ain't true.
Yeah, you can't.
Which that's not a thing. You don't promise to Jesus.
Yeah, her and I would never promise to Jesus if we were lying. We just couldn't do it. So.
Yeah, we were just like, So she always knew everything, which I was able to be pretty transparent with her for most of it. There's a lot of stuff that she still doesn't know, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, we put our mom through hell, and she survived it, and she seems to be proud of where we're at in life now.
Yeah, she treats us like most grandmas treat their grandkids.
That's true.
Like, literally, like, it's everybody says you get a different version. Your kids get a different version of your parents than you do, but I think our mom was always like had that sweet grandmotherly like just affection for us.
Absolutely. Let's go through a few of these photos from our childhood and our teen years. We have Andrew McLean with senior portraits that were not taken by Abby, but taken by a company, a photography company that had the market cornered in Blount County, and it was like Blount County Photography.
Well, aren't they in that little house just right off the highway? And they've
They
got
used
like
to be.
No, they still are. The
Are they?
backyard's like still fixed up.
Oh my
like
God.
Blunt Photographic or whatever.
Yeah, you see this. This is
Not
the backyard.
plugging them because they're my competition now, but
It's a photography company in Blount County, and their backyard was set up like a little. What do you call a photo set?
like a just like
Just
a
a set.
studio. Like, well, they have like little staged like photo ops
Right.
in their backyard, basically. Like, and if you drive by now, if you go through Adiana, you'll see like you can see it from the from the road. You can see like the different little spots that they have set up to like take pictures. But I also want to address the ice here.
Yeah, look at this. Okay.
And the dripping tips, the bangs.
So that stuff, when the light would hit it, it would absolutely bling. But a little backstory on this: I used to buy my bling. Now this is
At the gas station.
early 2000s. A lot of Tupac, a lot of Nelly. You know, some of these rappers. Eminem was getting big. Ludacris, stuff like that. I thought I was.
Nelly.
I thought I was Nelly. I thought I was. What's the term I'm looking for? I was.
I'm not saying it.
No, that's not what I was thinking.
You jerk. That's stupid.
No.
No.
But I thought I was an OG.
He thought he was a thug.
Okay, I thought I was a black man trapped in a white man's body. I really thought that. And going through high school.
Like, I remember, and I thought this was normal for teenagers. He'd put like the little Band-Aids on his cheeks, you know, like Nelly
Well, and I
had.
dressed up like Nelly.
And he'd wear like a Tar Heels jersey and like.
I'd wear armbands right here on my
Oh, you had
arms.
so many sweatbands.
I even wore do-rags at one time
You
to
had like a
match my
sweat.
hat.
You had
Do you remember when I used to wear the do-rags?
absolutely not.
Yeah, I got pictures
I
of that.
suppressed that
Let me, hold on.
on purpose.
Hold on. First of all, that bling that you're looking at there, that came from Century Plaza in Birmingham. I guess that was in Irondale. And it was fairly affordable because it was 100% fake. It was not real whatsoever. But I would buy it, and it would, before it started turning your skin green, it would last a good 2-3 weeks. So whenever my skin would turn green, I would just go through and buy some new bling to cover up the green marks on my wrist. Here is a picture of me wearing a do-rag. You ready for this?
Oh, I don't want to see it.
Hold on.
I don't want to be associated.
No,
with
look.
that.
And I did it just to match my outfit.
That's a bandana.
Hold on. It's in here somewhere. I just saw it when we were looking earlier.
Are you sure about that?
I am 100% sure.
I definitely did not want to remember that because I don't
Hang with me,
remember
kid.
that.
Is this the photo album we were looking through?
Yours, yeah.
Look at this.
All that you don't even like the Tar Heels.
No, I don't. I think they're ridiculous.
I think that was like a popular thing. I feel like a lot of people had Tar Heel stuff though.
You remember
like
those plates?
Oh,
Look at those plates.
God.
In Denny's stacks and stacks of
and
newspaper.
that old Folgers can that we put all my markers in.
Look, EA
forever.
Sports, NCAA.
Yeah, Dad always had a composition notebook. I don't know what he wrote in it, but
Poems. Remember when he used to write poems?
oh my God.
We should read some.
No,
On the
they're
podcast.
sad.
Well, they are. They're
Because
touching.
they were from a sad time. Though.
Well, I didn't mean to make fun of them. I thought maybe people would want to hear them.
Maybe ask his permission before you do that.
Maybe
'Cause
we'll-
it's very personal stuff.
Maybe we'll get him to come on and read
recite it.
That would be good.
that would be making fun of him.
But
'Cause
listen,
you know he can't do that. Seriously.
Concentrate on the do-rag.
It's beautiful. He did a really good job.
He really did.
He's very talented.
Concentrate on the do-rag here. You see that?
Oh.
I told you. Straight up, do-rag.
Oh.
Anyway.
I don't like that.
So, back to some of these photos. My senior year, senior portraits. Let's see. Can we skip these pictures, or do we have to? Can we? Hold on. Is there a way to create a slideshow?
Not just. Well, you can like click on the fold. You can click the.
More senior portraits here.
Try and click your arrow button. It may go to the next one. Here we go.
There we go. All right. Senior portraits. I'm looking fly there. I gotta admit. I think I look good in that picture.
Yeah.
Here is.
You look like Uncle John. Your little like how your eyes squint when you smile.
Here's Abby with what seems to be
Elf ears.
Yeah. You know your dad when you were born? I'll never forget this. He goes,
said I had lima bean ears.
yeah, he comes out and he goes, She's got lima bean ears. And
Well,
I'm
I think
like,
he'd had a few before he showed up, so like he probably was just like seeing things.
And what you see here is Abby standing in front of a wall of spoiled Gumbies that have expired.
They were potatoes.
Those are potatoes?
Yeah, they're little potato people. I don't know. I think that's what they were. I feel like I remember doing that.
They're potato people.
I was that kid though that like whenever we had like an art project, like if I remember there was one time they had like little cutout, like just like a coloring book picture of a penguin that they cut out that they were going to put up on the wall. And I always had to like color it correctly, like what the color it actually was. You know, like some kids will be like, I want a pink penguin, or like,
right.
No, I had to do that correctly. I had like all of my stuff, like I had to make it look right when I was a kid.
It must be something with my mom, your mom, because I'm kind of the same way on that front.
Yeah, I wanted to be the best. I wanted mine to look the best. I wanted everybody to see that and be like, man, that kid's talented, even though it was like.
Ask Trish, I'm the same way. Even when it comes to the show and
we're
uploading
we're both Leos.
I am adamant about even the spelling, the certain letters being capitalized, even if they don't need to be capitalized. I want it completely consistent, and I'm just weird like that. So there's Abby and her potato wall.
I was such a cute little kid.
Here's a photo of Andrew and Abby. Now, this is my dream car right here. I just want everybody to know. That was my dream car. I got it. I was so excited. Abby, I guess we're on our way to Easter.
It was Easter Sunday. We went to church. I got to ride with you to church.
I could not believe I had finally gotten the Mustang. I think that was in 1999. And then soon after that, let's see.
On our way to church.
We were on our way to church, and boom.
Just kidding. That didn't happen while I was in the car.
No, it didn't.
I just thought it'd be more dramatic. I wish it would have been right after that one. That would have been a good.
That is my dream car right there. And what happened is I really wasn't doing anything wrong, technically, but we were out mud riding with friends of mine until like 4 o'clock in the morning. Then I was on the way home.
Nothing wrong?
I was less than a mile. I mean, I'm saying we weren't drinking or anything. I was less than a mile from the house. And I was so tired, I fell asleep, and I nailed this old man in his pickup truck from behind.
Oh, I thought he was like walking.
I lose my shoes somehow. I jump out of my car after spinning around and landed in the median. Run check on him. He's all bleeding from his head and all this kind of stuff. And we got the ambulance there, and he survived, but he tried to sue me. And your mama got him on the phone and convinced him not to sue me. Basically, because I was an 18-year-old and I had the money, he wasn't going to get any anyway. Insurance was there. Everything was covered, but he was just angry over the fact that I just hit him from behind so hard. And thank God that I didn't hit somebody head on. Yeah. I mean, that was probably, if I was going to rack, that may have been the best case scenario. Then we move over to this, the infamous Ninja Turtles pillowcase.
Mamaw still had that in her basement, like when she moved out of her house.
Well, little backstory. This is a little embarrassing for me. But this pillowcase I would carry with me everywhere I went. I would suck my thumb, and I would hold the pillowcase like this and hold it up against my nose, almost to smell it, whether it was the fabric softener or whatever. But I would hold it up against my nose while I sucked my thumb. And I did that for a little longer than a kid should.
Like, you look like you're like 10 in this picture.
Yeah, I probably got up towards 10 doing that. And it came down to a day where I was grounded and Mom was willing to unground me and let me rent a video game at Movie Gallery if I would allow her to set that pillowcase on fire out in the driveway. She had to
light it on fire?
Absolutely, 100%.
Like, she was not like, I'm just going to throw it away. Like, no. She had to have a violent, like, Viking funeral for this.
She wanted a full-blown ceremony of this is the end of the pillowcase.
End of an era.
And I was so adamant about going and renting a video game.
I don't think she burned it, because I remember seeing that pillowcase in Mamaw's basement.
There's probably multiple. But
backups, yeah. burner pillowcases.
This is my burner Ninja Turtle pillowcase. Here's a picture of Abby and I.
It looks like Peyton.
Look at that.
You look just like Peyton.
I do. Look at those little lima bean ears.
I was a tiny baby. I was like very small.
There's some more.
Aw, besties.
Early on in our WWE days.
Yeah,
WWF.
he's getting ready to choke slam me.
Absolutely. On that very bed right there was a couple times I would throw her down and she bounced so high off the bed, she went in the floor on the other side.
Well, there was one time, because it was like one of those old school, like, I remember this was in the same house you threw the party in. His bedroom was in the back of the house. It was like one long room, so like half of it was the laundry room and then the back half was his bedroom. And his bed frame was a little bit bigger than the mattress, so it was like one of those old school metal bed frames.
Right.
That had like the wheels on the bottom that you could lock. And I remember you were like wrestling with me and you were like throwing me around. Because I was so small when I was little, you'd just throw me around. You thought it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. But I remember you threw me hard enough that I slipped off the edge of the bed and I hit my head on that bed frame.
Yeah.
And I started crying. You're like, shut up. Mom's going to get me in trouble.
Cool.
So, of course, as little sisters do, I started crying louder so she would hear me.
I did get in a lot of trouble
he
for
got
that.
in a lot of trouble.
There's a gangster Abby throwing up gang signs.
I look like a little lady escaping the nursing home in my walker.
Look at this.
That was the freakiest photo shoot ever.
You were a cute baby, I have to admit.
Yeah, Mom said that you even thought I was cuter than Peyton. She said that you said that one time.
Did I? No, I haven't said that.
You definitely said that.
No, because Peyton's got normal ears.
Yeah, he was the cutest baby.
You're like cute when like if you go to the zoo and
like
there's an
cute,
elephant.
like, elfish cute.
that elephant's really cute.
Elephant?
Yeah.
I said
like elephant
elvish.
ears. I said elephant. I'm telling them about your ears.
I don't have big ears. They're just pointy.
And here's my mom dressed as Big Bird. I assume this is Halloween.
God. No, it's not. It's just a sweatsuit. You're wearing one too.
Oh, that's not.
That was so
Well, I thought she was dressed as Big Bird.
It's the hair.
Anyway, we'll skip over that
Love
one.
you, Sharon. Oh, this is when I first smoked my first joint.
Yeah, you look high.
Oh, yeah. No, they thought it was really funny because and I still do it to this day, when I would sleep, when I was a baby, I would always put my hands behind my head and sleep like this. And so they'd slip sunglasses on me and take pictures of me like laying like that. But this one, I was just blazed.
And really, really high.
Oh, there's my senior
portraits.
picture. I got so sandy and gross.
That's cute.
Oh,
here's what we
speaking
call
of sandy and gross.
And this photo is called the anxiety-riddled mermaid.
She takes 50 milligrams of Wellbutrin every day.
And
that's like my signature move.
there's us leaving in the.
Throwing the horns.
Let's see. You're throwing up metal horns.
Bro, I was so cute. I was so cute.
Look at me. Why would that be my dream car? I can barely fit in that car. Look, I'm filling up every bit of that driver's seat.
Oh, here's
Look at that. Looking fly.
It's the coattails for me.
Yeah, those coattails are fly.
Oh, that was the same day.
That was.
I wore my best Rugrats shirt.
That was either senior or junior prom.
We still kiss like that.
Roll Tide.
I'm kidding. Am I?
And
Yes,
yeah. So that's kind of a rundown of our life together. It kind of sucks because we got a weird dynamic as far as brother sister deal goes because we grew up so far apart. Mm-hmm. But there's really no love. There's been times where Abby's hated my guts and refused to talk to me, but most of that was like related to I posted something on Twitter that really went over the line, no pun intended, and things of that
you
nature.
You used to say some really off the wall stuff though.
Like what? Now, when you say used to, what do you mean by used to?
Well, I don't know if it's because I have you muted now.
I know you do.
There was like one that was like it was in reference to like, I think it was like the Brett Kavanaugh thing, and it was like kind of like making fun of,
I was making fun of Ballsy Ford.
No, you're making
Blase.
fun of like it was like this picture that was going around of like this woman like blacked out on a picnic table, and it was
no, I didn't post that.
Maybe it was your dad.
Probably was.
That was very upsetting for me to see because like as a woman who is susceptible to.
Well, and I'm not completely innocent in that because I did take shots at Christine Blasey Ford because, I saw it for what it was. But I understand. I wouldn't just generally blanket everybody on that front.
Yeah, it's just kind of tough because when people see that kind of thing, like if they've been through that, they see themselves in that. And they're like, oh, that's how people see it.
One more time, just so people will remember, your Instagram is where they can get your info on your photography business.
Yeah, and If you're interested in the personal goings on in my life, my personal Instagram's hooked up to my business one. It's in the bio.
At Abby McLean Photography, and then you can get all the other information from there that you need. Are you just allowing people on the Instagram, or what if you start getting Facebook stuff?
I do a lot of business on Facebook. It's the same thing, Abby McLean Photography. If you just search it, you'll see it. It's like the only page that's named that.
Yeah.
So you can access me, pretty much on any platform. I don't have a Twitter for my business or a TikTok for my business, but I am on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, you can just catch it there, or you can add me on Facebook and find it through there, or you can go to my, whatever. I don't care. Just hit me up if you need pictures. It's fun. I'm fun.
Or you can catch her outside.
Catch me outside. How about that?
How about that?
I'm really disappointed that I didn't use more sound effects during this show.
I'm not.
No, you're not. What about?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Yeah.
Alex Jones.
Come on, it's not bad.
Come on, man.
Give me a break.
I think
We should have done a show on Alex Jones.
you should have had like a sound bite of The Rock being like, "It doesn't matter what your name is," when you introduced me.
That's a good one to go with.
Yeah, you should do that in the future.
We'll do that next time. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, listening to this podcast. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Hopefully, we'll do another one of these again. If you're watching on the normal Over the Line channel, make sure you go to OTL Burner account. The information for that, we'll post it. If you can't find it, just comment on this video, send a message. It is very important you subscribe to that channel. In the event that we get banned from our other channel, you need to be able to find us on there. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, all the podcast platforms. Also, we're about to start streaming on Twitch. And then last but not least, Friday Night Live will be a compact short version from what we're planning on. And we're going to be doing it via mobile phone because we've got to take her to a photo shoot where she's hooking some people up. So keep an eye out for that as well. It's going to be just we were going to have to skip it, but we were like, well, you know what? We're just going to make sure we do something. So y'all keep an eye out for that Friday Night Live. That's it. And until next time, see you, cuz.